I arranged it so that for the home page, your announcements, your most recent announcements, the top 3 will come in at the top of the page. So if you ever miss an announcement in your email, or you don't have your settings set up to deliver it to your email, it's a really great way to just start there first and make sure that you're on top of whatever is posted. My intention is to make sure that we are that I'm sending out a message at least every 2 weeks, if not once a week. I will try to keep those messages short, though sometimes I'm like, oh my God, there's so much I got to talk about for the people who haven't been here. So it might get a little crazy. Welcome, Bryant. I saw you come in. Hopefully everything's wonderful for you today. All right, on your navigation, folks. So the thing is, definitely utilize your calendar. Your calendar is fabulous. If your teachers are in Canvas and they're super smart, then they're logging all the assignments and it will show up and populate your calendar so that you see everything that is due for all of those classes. Which means I have not loaded the assignments for my other class yet. Okay, awkward moment.
I don't think I've ever had a teacher load everything. And I've been using Canvas for like, I want to say like 5 or 6 years.
Okay, pardon the phrase, that sucks.
Yeah.
No, you guys, okay, we'll get to that in a second and I'll show you. The inbox, please, please, please. Cal State Fullerton spams the heck out of me with their messages. Okay. And I mean, it's like, I've never experienced this in my whole life. I came from the financial industry, you guys, and I had crazy communications there. No, I don't know what it is about this school, but they are OCD on communicating everything. People who need time off. I see it for the whole university. People who have gotten awards, people who have classes they're offering, lectures they're offering, people who are selling, books. I mean, it's just like, really, it just doesn't stop. So my request is, please, you have 2 excellent forms of communication with me. Number 1, ta-da, the cell phone. I am a major texter. Do I answer the phone? No, not really. Maybe if my kid calls me or the husband, but you can ask me to answer the phone and I will for you. But texting, I don't care what hour it is. If you text me at 3 a.m., most likely I'm up. I would prefer not to be up, but typically I am. And if I've got that text, I'll respond. Heck yeah. And if I actually went to sleep, then I'll respond as soon as I'm awake. Okay, that's my commitment. I do teach a lot of classes. So if I'm in class, obviously I won't respond right away, but that's why I like text, is I'll get on top of it as fast as possible. All right. The second choice of communication is using your Canvas inbox, because I am on this thing nonstop and I keep looking, and it's got that lovely little icon that tells me when I have mail that's come in, and I know it's you guys or the other class, not the university. So, pros and cons. Did I miss my contract? Yes, I did. But, it is what it is. But so please, please, if you use email, it might be like a week later before I realize it's there. I do try to visit it once a week. But if you want me, you know what to do. Remind me again, what are you doing?
Texting.
Texting and
Canvas.
Thank you. All right, in your navigation, you guys know that all of your classes will be scheduled in Zoom, like today for my wonderful, whoever it was that was awesome and said, what the heck? Yeah, I know, fantastic. If I have those errant moments where I just space on something, you guys, 1,000 apologies in advance. I will get on top of it as fast as I can, but I will start scheduling out for the whole semester, the Tuesdays and Thursdays. If I believe in solidarity, okay? If a band of you group together and you say, we really need to talk about this, we don't get it, we have availability at this time, I will absolutely do a spontaneous session with you. Office hours. I don't know if you guys looked at the syllabus. Let's jump down for a quick second to the syllabus. I'm not sure if you looked at this, but the office hours say on demand all days of week. Yeah, 7 days a week, day and night, you guys. I would rather answer your questions like that, whether it be a Zoom session or text or phone, than for you to be waiting, trying to schedule it and feeling like you can't meet me at a time that I propose. The university mandates I'm supposed to schedule a time. I find that no one ever shows up at my scheduled times. They only work with me when they have availability, okay? So I absolutely invite you 100% to communicate with me with what works best for your schedule, and we'll compromise and do it as quickly as possible. Because I get it, you're juggling a lot and I got to keep you guys moving. All right. In your syllabus, since we're on this page, let's just keep running down, folks. This line, refer to the public health. This one, folks, is your full university mandated syllabus. What does that mean? Well, in Julie speak, that means, oh, and I'll put in our 2 times here. I'll finish that today, tonight, actually, because I go straight into another class. It means the blah, 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 blah. Okay. All of that
The
stuff.
legal speak.
Yeah. All of it is in here. I pulled out, folks, what I felt was the most important things and what someone very strongly dictated. Thing number 1, technical support. Brilliant. Canvas is fantastic at supporting students. If you have a breakdown, reach out to them. They are my best friends. Okay. Their help, even their little help icon to investigate on your own, brilliant. I found stuff last night that way. DSS, they asked me to please make sure it was upfront and obvious. And I think support is incredibly important to students. So it is there and available for you. We are going to be utilizing, I had 2 choices for this class, my friends. And Miss Amanda, I think you just joined us also. Welcome. My 2 Amandas are here now. Fabulous. Folks, I had the option of going with a textbook that I did reference in your full syllabus. It's comprehensive. It was the most depressing, driest thing I could possibly imagine, and it was not cheap. And so I opted not to mandate that textbook. So everything is free in this class. It's all going to be open educational resources. That means I tend to be very open and creative as to what information I like to pull in off the internet. Whether it be research articles or links to websites that are awesome, or video clips or podcasts, I'm still amassing that information. So that's why I'm building this as I go, because I decided to take on a gargantuan effort, but I'm committed to this being a much more interactive, enjoyable, and interesting experience, because part of the payoff of finding things on the internet is then it starts you on a path of finding more cool stuff. All right. Versus a book, it's like, it's over and done with. Okay, so I post your tentative schedule. I try not to, per feedback of students, to change it very much. And then after that is also the grading policies, so that you understand the weight of the different assignments. I broke them down as to the type of assignments, so that you understand there's really a variety of things going on here. Your final exam, I have no idea what that's going to look like. Honestly, it is pretty fluid for me. It will be comprehensive of everything we talk about, but I'm going to follow you guys. Hold on one second, Jacqueline. I got you. I'm going to follow you guys through the semester, and then I will figure out what will make the most sense of where I feel like you guys were not really grasping things. Miss Jacqueline, go for it.
Are you a study guide type of teacher who gives study guides before exams, or are you the type of teacher where, like, if you said it to us at some point in a lecture or some form of media that you give, is that free game for exams? Or is it strictly like, I've had teachers where, like, if they write it down, it's free game. Obviously you're not writing on a whiteboard anymore, but like, to what degree of detail do I need to be?
I know, right? I tend, and Miss Amanda, if you have any testament to last semester, what you want to share with the group, I think I've gotten a mix of feedback from people. That some people feel like I tend to pull details that they might not have seen. Some people tell me that I should have provided a study guide when it was there all along in the module. I don't know why they missed it, but they didn't look. And we'll get to that in the modules in a second. I do pose, and this is part of your study guide, is in the modules, I pose your objectives, your goals, and your overview. And those are really vital, because if you have those, then you have got a profound foundation.
Yeah.
What I do tend to do is propose assignments or finals, a lot of times that require critical thinking, where you have to think beyond what's being presented. And so for that reason, I share with you what your final is in advance.
Huh.
Okay. So that you guys have a week to prepare, to mull it over, to change things up.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure. I've had teachers who are like, anything I say or write or print is free game, and they give like a, you know, a sea of information. And then I've had teachers who are like, if I write it down, it's legal. If I don't write it down, then don't worry about it. But if you write everything I write, then it's fair game.
I think I'm probably somewhere a little bit of in between and all of the above. I do have,
Fluid.
I will tell you that when students have pushed back and said, where you never talked about this, I will either pull it up for them and be like, recorded right here, or I will be like, oh crud, I forgot to cover that. All right, and I'll give the point back. That is my commitment.
Okay.
My integrity is to follow through on my word. And if I make a mistake, you guys, I have the humility to understand I made a mistake, and I will admit it to everyone. Okay.
Fair enough.
So yeah, and Jacqueline, I love it because I know I'm going to trust you to definitely keep me honest. Girlfriend, you got your role in class. Thank you.
I'll be teacher's pet. It's normal.
Yeah, that's not pet. That's whipping me. No.
I've had some really great teachers and some really terrible ones. So
Yeah, you guys, you know what? So have I. Okay, so have I. I've had some horrific teachers who totally burned me out on subjects, and I've never, I've fought with them and never, not the teachers, but the subject, and didn't want to go back. And then I've had teachers that inspired me and just really propelled me forward in life. Um, I never want to burn someone out on a topic. I don't ever want that to happen. And that's why it's important to me that you guys communicate with me. If you're frustrated, if you don't understand something, if you don't feel it's clear, I want to make sure, because that feedback is not just helping you get on the track, but it's also letting me know that there's a breakdown on my end, that maybe I'm not conveying the information correctly. And that's highly possible with me, because sometimes it's a great idea in my head, but it doesn't necessarily translate in the course. Speaking of in the course, Miss Amanda Kim, I made some changes based off of people's recommendations from last semester. Just sharing. Okay, so midterm. Oh, wow. Really? I don't think I've looked at your, oh yeah, it really is there. Okay. I forgot all about that. Hey, you have a midterm. Okay, the midterm is a really great example of, it's going to be a case study. Amanda, no, it's not the nutrition one. It'll be a different one. But this is where I'm going to present a person to you, and you're going to analyze not only what's happening, less an analysis of their health and well-being, more on what are they not doing to support their health and well-being, and then what are the action plans that you're going to develop very comprehensively for that person to progress their life in a positive and healthy way. Okay. Okay. Candace is not here with us right now, right? So cute when someone messages me in the middle of class and they're not here. All right. So this will be a great example of the critical thinking, and the final exam will, it might be a case study, or it just might be serious application of the information you guys have learned. Action plans are literally what they are. When we were talking about at the beginning about structure, these are the foundation of, I call them the baby steps of how we progress, and action plans have to be clear and concise. And I'm going to warn you guys, my ultimate pet peeve in life is generalizations. So if you were ever to say, oh yeah, I'm going to go exercise, I'm going to look at you and go, oh, I've met a lot of you. Yeah, that's around 180 million people in this country. But for you to say, I'm going to exercise tomorrow at 10 a.m. and at 10 a.m. I'm going to go for a 10-minute walk around the block, and then I'm going to do 5 minutes of sit-ups. I'm there with you. I know what you're saying. It's clear, it's concise, it's complete. And that's what action plans are about. So we're going to be focusing on very clear, concise action plans, just to get us started in creating definition for ourselves, to create that structure. We're exploring these with food related and then with exercise related, because those are the two that really need to be the most succinct, not to disregard other events like going to the personal assessment awareness. You guys have already started with your personal wellness inventory. You are submitting it. Please keep your version. Do not lose it, okay? Because you are going to be touching that again later when you do this report again as a follow-up to look at, have you created any changes? Stress is a huge influencer on human health, which is why we target it. It not only derails us from our positive habits for our health and well-being, but it also disrupts our nutrition choices, which creates this downward spiraling event. Sleep log and schedule, straightforward weight questionnaire, identifying our relationship with ourselves, our body, our expectations. And part of that will be actually a communication with ourselves. Fertility and parenting goals. Yeah, you guys, I totally get it. You may be at a point in your life where you're just like, seriously? But that's the whole point, is if that's the case, then you're communicating seriously, no, thank you, got it. But we need to have plans of knowing what we want or don't want to create clarity for our lives. Grief reflections and statements. You guys are all in the age group now where you are, I'm sad to say, having experience with death and the pain of loss that goes hand in hand with that, and are emotionally trying to wrap our heads around this experience can be really tough. So we're going to work on tools to embolden our skills in being able to respond to these events and to support others. Your skill development assignments are going to be really building those tools into becoming habits that support you. The interesting thing, you guys, is that you're going to get from this, hopefully at the end, is that everything that we work on here is translatable. Okay, this is why all of this information is the same core information that is applied for, if you read a book about, habits of most successful people, or if you read autobiographies or biographies of famous people, when they talk about a lot of their development and evolution to what they wanted to accomplish, to where they got to, a lot of this information is translatable. I mean, these skills, you just shift them and they become skills for work, for graduate school, for family management events, for personal finance, whatever it is. It's all going to become slowly transparent. In the case of alcohol, drugs, and tobacco, I'm a little cautious about the preachy aspect of these topics. So I think it is more important for you guys to really explore and express your relationship with these topics. And I don't mean not just for you, but you, your social group, and what your vision of society in general. And it is powerful because we do know that there's this extraordinary opioid crisis in the United States with a growing what I just read the statistics on it, and it's oh gosh, it doesn't seem like that big of a number, but it's a quantifiable number for the amount of people who are dying from overdoses in this country. And it's competing with some of our chronic diseases, which is just like, what the heck is going on? And I will say that COVID has been no friend to this topic. For helping us with mental health and relationship with people. All right, we have some other case studies, emotional health, fact or fiction, because this is one of the conundrums with being a human being, is we tend to create stories and we like to live in our stories like we are our own melodrama or our own little daytime soap opera or Korean drama or whatever it is that you like to watch. So we want to start to tease out and make those distinctions. Part of health and well-being, folks, is not just our management of ourselves, but our relationship with our nourishment and the foodborne pathogens. Understanding that food safety is a major component. I mean, statistically, it's crazy how many people die every year in this country from foodborne illness. It's nuts. Okay. Your Zoom discussion participation is worth points, and I've got to come up for an alternative. Is that if you can't make class, I'm going to work on something so that everyone has an equal and fair chance. All right, the pre-semester survey that is closed. I appreciate you guys kicking in. I think this class, I think this class actually at the last minute knocked it out of the park and got it done. The flip grid, you guys, I know that this is, it's a click, it should be clickable there. And it goes, oh yeah, no, I can't do that. Okay, you can join it using your CSU at Fullerton account. But when you go into Flipgrid, the whole point of this is it's just a great opportunity for me to get to know you guys better. And hey, I think you guys were able to see each other's videos also. Is this true? Fabulous. I just think it's great because we don't have each other in real life to say, hey, wow, I share the same thing in common with you. So it's a great opportunity at least to connect. I don't know, I'll have to say at Chapman, my students, I had 2 students that actually started dating. It was like, and they're still together. Isn't that cute? 7 months later, totally awesome. But it's, this is how we can forge alliances with people, create networks, whether it be, oh my God, you had that class. What's that teacher like? You can access information, share advice. And part of the foundation of this class is that, anything that you can bring to the table, like Miss Amanda talking about your crystals, in spirituality that you can bring to the table and make a difference for others. I think that's absolutely brilliant and fantastic. So that has yet to be set up also. Your personal health mission statement, folks, you got to know what you want from yourself in terms of health and well-being. You've got to have a clear vision, and we'll take a quick peek at that. Yes. That is so cute.
I wanted to comment to Amanda without having to interrupt you entirely. I'm sorry.
No, I think that's absolutely fabulous. You're so cute. That's great. Yeah, and this is kind of an interesting thing that you bring up. There's actually a lot of power to this, folks. If you think about it, it's like pet therapy when you stroke an animal, that it actually stimulates the mind and helps us release hormones so that we can calm down. Well, to that point, Miss Jacqueline, even, you'll see this sometimes in movies about kids of decades past where they'll have like a little rock in their pocket and they'll rub it. And that actually is and this is true also really helpful with spectrum disorders, is to give a person something to focus on. I mean, my husband's ADHD, and oh my gosh, I got to always have something for him to focus on or he's bouncing off the walls.
It's a grounding element.
Excellent. You guys do have the option of extra credit. One is going to be being very creative and doing a video. I have an example of one in the nutrition section a student created. Whatever it is, I've got to develop the explanation of it, and then I'm going to leave it slightly open so that if you're like, oh my gosh, I want to create a video that's claymation or something, you know what, I'm open. This is an opportunity for creativity. So I'm always excited when people think outside the box. And the cool part is it's extra credit, which means if you consider it an epic failure, to me, it's an epic success. So I would not put any should, could, would conversation around it, but more like, let's have fun. All right. The family history tree, that's really powerful, folks, because part of your optimal health is understanding your family health and well-being, because part of our relationship with our health and well-being, our dietary choices, our exercise, our way of managing stress, we learn through our family. And if you're in an environment that, for example, uses ice cream to celebrate every single event, or when really sad to eat ice cream, then you build this relationship with ice cream as a way to anesthetize your emotions or to express your emotions. Well, that's a happy and wonderful thing, with the exception of the volume of calories that we take in. So understanding the foundation of your family helps you identify What habits do you want to keep? And what habits do you want to change? Because at some point, if you have not already, you are going to take off and you've got to someday potentially create your own family, whether it be nuclear family, um, roommates family, work family, whatever that is, folks. And at that point, you're going to be a leader in that environment in helping people develop their health and well-being. Because why? We live through example, okay? Or lead by through example. All right, the comprehensive blood panel, I do give credit for these because you need to know what is going on for your health and well-being. That specifically is a lipid and a sugar. And then there's a post-semester survey that you get 5 points for. Okay, so below all that, you'll notice I'm not done. I've got to build. So you're right now, I'm sorry, your calendar is empty. I've got to build all these assignments in so that the due dates start showing up in Canvas. But right now, until I get it done, they are noted on your syllabus page by date. Now, the pattern, if you guys notice, is that you have 1 to 2 items due per week. All right. The reading is not really reading. It's going to be, it might be a flyer, as I said, a podcast, a video, an assortment of different, it might be an online piece from a open educational resource textbook. It's going to be a variety of different things to access information. Don't freak out, okay? I'm keeping these 5 unique snack options with action plans, you guys. I mean, honestly, this is like 30 minutes if you're lucky. 5. Someone want to tell me a really great snack choice?
Tomato toast.
Tomato toast?
Yeah, I have like Dave's famous bread. That's like the seeded bread, and I toast it and I put tomatoes on it with like garlic and pepper.
Dang, right on. Okay, that's absolutely brilliant, folks. And I'll tell you why. And this will be in that section. I'll address it. Is that what Jacqueline's presented is 100% whole grain bread. That's a carbohydrate that feeds the brain, central nervous system, the muscles. It also feeds your blood cells and provides nutrition and storage for your liver. You added something living, tomato, that's very low in calories. Absolutely brilliant, because the tomato is rich in vitamins, minerals, fiber, water, and phytonutrients, along with fiber. Did I say that one? Vitamins, minerals, fiber. Oh, I already said it. Okay. So that's an incredibly balanced snack. I will talk a little bit more about how if you want snacks to be more sustaining long-term, keep you fuller longer, you want to have a protein with them. But boom, that's one aspect of that. So then you would come up with 4 more snacks, and then action plans means the food does not magically appear on a plate. So you've got a plan. How are you going to get the food? When are you going to get the food? When are you going to prepare it? When are you going to eat it? Action plans have to be clear and concise and repeatable. And I'll bring this up for you guys again on the website. And so that's what I'm looking for, is just thought and planning. All right. Not a lot.
So,
same goes with the exercise. Yes, ma'am.
So for the assignment, it's like I feel like this is a terrible way to describe it, but if you're like having a really bad mental health day, how everything is a process and you're like putting out every single step of like, okay, I have to go to the market, I have to get the bread, like go home, make sure like I have a toaster or whatever. And like, that's what you mean by like all the steps of it?
Yeah. Yeah. And you guys, it's not a bad mental health day. It's a to-do list, really.
No, I
It's
know. I'm just using it as like the example of like whenever I'm having like a really down day, like everything is like such a process. It's not just making coffee. It's gotta get up, gotta walk to the kitchen, gotta like the
well,
like heave
yeah,
ho part of it.
please don't put your action plan as being walking to the kitchen.
No.
No, the point is, folks, is, it's kind of an interesting thing. You guys were not raised with, unfortunately, basic life skills, home economic. I mean, all that's been completely jettisoned. And some of the stuff you've been trained in your family culture, and it is intuitive and already there. And you might have a strength in one area where that assignment's going to be like, oh my gosh, I can do this in my sleep. But then you may come across an area where you're just like, what? it's just not there for you. So don't be surprised as you go through this class if you have kind of highs and lows in terms of information that you have or knew or skills, or maybe it could be that, oh my God, I've heard of that, or yeah, I used to do that. What happened? I forgot. So you're going to have a variety of experiences with this stuff. So no harm, no foul. Don't worry about it. Sleep log schedule, really simple and straightforward. There will be specific questions that go with it, plus action items. But again, no research. What I'm trying to do at this point in module 2 is for you guys to really connect with yourselves. All right. Setting the foundation and understanding what you're doing, because we tend to be an autopilot in life and completely check out. I want us to wake up and get present to our actions and our choices, so that we're truly, anyone know what the word is I'm about to say? So that we are truly
Conscious?
conscious. I'll give you a hint. It's close. Starts with the letter M. Nothing? Mindful.
Motivated. Oh.
Woo,
Okay, motivated.
I like you
Yeah.
guys are in the same arena with me, but mindful, folks, being present to what we're doing. And that theme is going to come up a lot in our class. Okay. Healthcare resources and definitions, folks. I don't know about you, but I do remember back to around college when I was out on my own. My mother was on the West Coast. I was on the East Coast. And that was a moment of, oh my God, how do I do this? How do I do that? Who do I call? And so I just want to make sure that we're on the same page and understanding that if we do have healthcare, how do we maneuver that system to get what we need and when we need it? And if you don't have healthcare, then what are the resources available to you to make sure that you're covered? All right. So simple, straightforward, not again, anything huge, crazy, whatever. All right, midterm will come right before the spring break, because I don't want you to have to worry about academics. If you were doing anything over spring break, it would be by your choice, and most likely it would be extra credit. Okay. When we get into, module 3, let's go, you know what, let's go to a different page. Let's go to the modules and look at this from there. So the module 0, folks, by the way, is just basic stuff to support you. Class tips for online presence. That's all great. Whoa. Oh, I haven't. Oh, really? You guys haven't been able to see the module, huh?
Uh-oh.
Okay, hold on. All right, that's because I'm still building all this, but let's go ahead and open it because you should be able to see it. All right, so getting back to what Jacqueline was asking is, what is the study guide, okay? And for every single section, folks, I'm going to have an overview that tells you, okay, this is what this module is going to be about, and what some major objectives are that you need to touch on. Like, for example, when I asked about your personal statement, your personal mission statement for your health, part of that conversation is you need to, it's one thing to say, oh, I want to be healthy right now while I go to school. Yeah, that's cute. Woo! But to have a mission statement, it means your mission for health is to get you somewhere, to accomplish something. And what that is down the line in the future, what is your health and well-being going to look like when you're in your 70s? And does that sound like 1,000 years from now? Because it might be, especially if we could freeze time. No, Jacqueline, you're like, yeah, well, I don't know. When I was in my 20s, it was 1,000 years from then. And now I'm looking at it and I'm going, oh my God. Okay.
Like 30's coming real quick.
It does. I will tell you, you're 30 when you're 29. And then when you hit 32, you're already looking at 40. It just keeps going. So you've got to know where you're going. All right. So this is just an example of where there are certain key things I need you guys to stay present to. All right, today we're doing the class orientation. So one of the things I've got to get into, what time did we start? 3 o'clock, right?
Mhm.
Oh, shoot, I'm out of time. I got to stop with all this stuff. We're going to talk about our different topics. Now, I haven't finished editing, so this should not say this. It should say what we're going to talk about in a minute. Yeah, you guys, I'm still building your website. It's been a journey. In addition, when we're in the modules, you'll start out with the overarching discussion of what the whole module is about, the introduction, and then the specific topics will go into what they are. So for example, in module 2, the tenets of health, oh, look, mindfulness. You've got the overview for this whole section, weeks 2 through 6, and then it breaks down into your different topics that we're going to address. We have 5 tenets of health, which are really the most powerful. Your nutrition, your physical activity. And notice physical activity is not about sports nutrition. It's about being physically active, like getting up and walking around. Your sleep, your stress management, and your mental health. Really powerful components of health and well-being in general. So each one will have its own goal and objectives. And then with it, I will be providing learning source resources for that topic, or I might have an additional page with more information that you need that's slightly different from the learning resources. So for the nutrition monitoring and planning tools, okay, I'm putting in apps for you here, but sorry, this is like just not moving with me. I put in some videos that I thought were just really cool, but this is the one where Nicole, one of my students, absolutely brilliant. This was her extra credit piece on eating. So check it out. She's a riot. I can't remember. I think she was a theater major because it's just like, girlfriend, dang, she's just nonstop. Okay, so yes, bottom line is, my friends, is that you are going to see some change as I flesh this out and clean it up, which is why I was not opening it up for you guys to see everything yet. I've got errors I have to clean up. All right, so let's get on to today's topic. Let's see, I talked about Flipgrid. You guys are on the personal assessment that has to be included. Let's see, let's go through my checklist because I've given up. I can't hold anything in my brain on my own. All right, the Canvas navigation, explore it, my friends. All right, don't be shy, go in there. Anything in life that we screw up can be undone, so don't worry about it. The only thing short of that is, of course, human life, or our pets' lives, or our children's lives. Syllabus, you guys are present to that we have the short version I put up for you guys. The long version is a link that you've got. Weekly readings are not really readings. I've got to adjust that. They're really going to be just interactive materials. They always should be ready by, oh gosh, I forgot. Your class might be actually Monday. I think I made a mistake on Sunday. Look at the due date, okay? Don't trust me verbally. Discussion topics, this is where we're adding more depth, more flavor. So we'll give a quick example on the right-hand side in a moment. You have your weekly assignments, you have your final and a midterm that's missing there. Communication with me, we talked about, how do we communicate with me? What's the #1 choice?
Text.
Nice, thank you. And then we talked about, we looked at the Flipgrid. Please finish those. They're really just really cool. And I'm dead serious. For a few friends who really don't like being on camera, I don't know, get the stuffed animals out and have them talk for you. Be creative. I am open to anything, you guys. I mean, because to me, it's all fun, and I just don't sweat that stuff. All right, and your personal mission statement. So you only have 3 things due for this week, okay? That's it, just a little warm up. Now, promotion of optimal health. This is an example of when we're talking about we're going to have weekly topics. Got to get my notes out.
Where do we find the personal mission statement?
Is it not live yet? Is that what you're telling me?
I mean, I'm just looking at the syllabus right now, wondering if it's there.
Okay, it should be in week 1 where it should say your personal mission statement. I don't see
You
it
can
on
see it through assignments.
Through assignments?
It's in
Yeah.
Okay, you guys.
There it is. Okay.
I have a question. When I have the module and I have the resources for you guys to work through and your objectives, do you want me to, the assignments are all over here. As I build them, they'll be loading up here. But my question for you is, do you prefer I go ahead and add a link in the modules for the assignment also? So for,
I like all the stuff just being in the modules. I feel like it's like a
Yeah.
like do this thing, do this thing, do this thing, this thing. Okay, I'm done with this whole like week
Yeah.
versus having to click to different places because then you get lost.
absolutely, I will warn you that of course, always once in a while, I forget to do something.
Of course. That's when you just scream into the abyss and hope for help.
Right? Oh my gosh, I think I live in that abyss.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so that goes up
Oh, I
here.
wrote it down. Okay.
All right, that goes up there. And so there you guys go. This is why I said, folks, when you state opinions on things, I will listen to you guys and I will absolutely work with you. Okay. So when you have recommendations, I really appreciate it. Share with me and I will do what I can to make it a better experience, because that's the only way I'm going to learn what it is from your perspective. Okay, great. There you go. They are in your module and your module is live. Okay, and God, you guys are so funny. Jacqueline, you are a riot. Okay, awesome. All right, let's go back to this page. Yeah, and by the way, you'll notice I'm a time hog. I would keep you guys forever if I could have my way, but I can't because I'm teaching at Kaiser next. All right, changing patterns in US health. You guys, this is a moment. I don't grade you for your right or wrong answer. That's not what this is about. It's an open dialogue is really what these mean. And I want you guys to throw ideas out there and let me know what you're thinking. So what do you think is going to influence US health in the United States so that it's shifting, so that it changes? What are the influencing factors? What comes to mind for you guys?
Having
What,
people who believe in science. Sorry, that was tea.
no, so whether or not people believe in science. You know, I'm there. It's kind of interesting because I think that would be the whole debate on, is there really global warming or is it just the natural evolution of the planet Earth that we're speeding up? You guys, it's very interesting. And right now we are in such a fascinatingly politically contentious society. But when we slow down and listen to people and really explore their position, oftentimes I find that people speak in sound bites, which means misinterpretation can explode very quickly. Yep. But on the other hand, the interesting thing is I find oftentimes people, when you engage them in conversation, they are speaking off of sound bites from the news and not from their own intelligence, which means that they haven't explored it. They haven't really delved into it and understand it yet. And that's where I think it's a great opportunity to share your knowledge, and hopefully they give you the respect to hear you so that we can expand our thought process and consider things that we didn't consider before. So aside from science and our relationship and understanding and trust of science and scientists, what else or other things could influence our health? And that actually is huge, folks, because there has been so misrepresentation of nutritional science by the media. My being a dietitian, you guys, I will tell you, this is my pet peeve of the universe, is when I find shows like the Today Show highlighting the virtues of coconut, which was based off of articles from 10 years ago, which have been refuted. Why are they just now bringing this up when it's 10-year-old data that has shifted? Another great example is soy. There was a lot of drama around soy decades ago and a lot of negative speak that has no good scientific evidence. Yet doctors, inclusive of this conversation, go around telling their patients, especially cancer patients, don't eat soy. Soy has anti-cancer properties. So there is a lot of crazy information floating around, and that misinformation, courtesy of the media, really influences not only our decisions, but even influences people who practice healthcare, like medical doctors, nurses. All right. So excellent example. What else, my friends, would be examples. Changing patterns of US health influenced by what else? Now identified scientists, and we've identified media. What else?
I would say affordable, healthy foods, because like in low income they give them like food stamps or whatever, but they can only get like unhealthy food. So
Yeah, it's really interesting. Um, oh gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, you guys, I'm learning your names. Sophia, Liz. Oh no. Which one?
Liz,
Liz. Okay, thank you. Yeah, you guys, have you figured out I'm not shy? I'm okay of making a fool of myself. Um, Liz, it's really interesting that you bring that up because the SNAP program, Supplemental Nutrition Access Program, is actually driven by lobbyists and Congress, which, excuse me, that's a bad word in my mouth, which is not evidence-based science for dietary choices. So there's a lot of manipulation and a lot of abuse of that program. And their access is not driven as much by what they can't have, but by the liberal freedom of whatever they want. Whereas you look at a program like WIC, Women, Infants, and Children, that program is defined and it's financially supported by the government, but the Congress has no conversation, no play in it, which means that says flat out what you can eat are whole foods, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, quality proteins, whole milk, and I cry, juice, but whatever. So there is, this incredible influential aspect of the nutrition support system in America, either evidence-based or politically based. And why do I say politically based? Because let's get real. When lobbyists really worked on our congressmen so that they said that tomato sauce on pizza is a vegetable.
Remember that? Oh God, I swear.
It was heartbreaking for me because that is not going to support people in their health and well-being. It's going to give them an excuse to not eat the foods they need to eat. So interesting. All right, what else, you guys? What else influences these patterns of health, things that can shift in our society?
I think with COVID-19, especially the move towards preventative versus like treatment based, like, making sure you're eating healthy foods instead of just waiting until you're sick. And then it's like, oh, I guess I'll have some vitamin C. It's like continually feeding your body what it needs to fight off any infection or any chronic diseases.
Okay, Amanda, right?
Yeah.
My second Amanda. Okay. It's really powerful what you're saying, Amanda, and this is intriguing, is that one of the, that prevention is extraordinary. In the prevention, you want to get back to the roots. Where is the prevention coming from, whether inadvertently or intentionally, folks? What I have seen is an extraordinary surge in, partially because of restaurants being closed, is cooking at home. People getting back to basics and learning how to make foods from scratch. And that is, when I grew up, home ec was, you gain some of those skills. You grew up with your grandparents teaching you how to cook. You didn't have fast food. You didn't have the convenience food you have today, which meant either you ate out of a soup can or you had to cook a meal. There was nothing in between, really. You couldn't go to a restaurant and get takeout very easily. So I'm very excited. I got to tell you, COVID has some nasty, negative, ugly aspects to it, as does any influenza in the last 10 years. But it also has some extraordinary silver linings to it. And as Amanda points out, that prevention and that getting back to the basics of quality nutrition and taking responsibility for our dietary choices has been an amazing surge. Does it grow out of people's fear of COVID? Does it grow out of desperation because there are no restaurants? I don't know. And in the end, as a dietitian, I don't care because I'm happy that people are moving in a direction that our country desperately needs, which is a shift in self-care, nutritionally based. So absolutely excellent, Amanda. Example is that shifting health in the United States actually influenced by major health events. like COVID, real cool. And part of that also goes hand in hand with shifts, just to throw into the arena, folks, is also the economy. And that's kind of a sad thing is that obviously right now with, we've had a year now of unemployment and a crashing economy, and they're talking about another stimulus package and another year. I don't see an end to this. This is really not the Great Depression, it's the Depression. And the volume of people who are deprived of the ability to provide for their own tables is sad and scary. So that would be a huge influencer to how the pattern of US health is going to have a shift. All right. What other things, folks, do you think will influence, just as a final thought on those changing patterns?
I think the focus on realizing people don't need to be micromanaged as much and they can work from home. I think it's going to give people a better perspective for disabled persons and the challenges that they've been facing because they could have worked from home all this time.
Wow, that's really
And
cool.
capitalism.
That's entrepreneurial. That's really, really cool. I actually have to admit, I didn't think of that. Very awesome. Is opening up opportunities. But you guys, on the balance of life, you have to take into consideration also is that there are drawbacks. How many of you had memberships to gyms and didn't know what to do once they killed the gyms?
Yeah, it's been rough.
Yeah, I had an absolute multi-month freak out, okay? Until I finally woke up and realized, oh my gosh, aside from the fact that I teach people how to think outside of the box and I wasn't doing it myself, the reality is if gyms weren't there forever, okay? They weren't, which means what did we all do for exercise before gyms came along?
Work out at home.
Yeah. Yeah, be active in life, get outdoors, play games, have fun, go hiking, go swimming, go walk the beach, whatever that is. And so that's kind of a big reset. So the changing patterns in US health, we can have a divergence where some people are just shutting down and then some people are like, oh my gosh, look, there's a park. And realizing there's more to life than what their routine was. One other thought too is just to consider also is the changing demographics in the United States, that as people move around, they shift, different ethnic groups. These will also influence health. Ideas that are brought in, that maybe worked great at home country, but not necessarily here, or the development of new ideas that even that are brought from home country that improve the process here, the health and well-being relationship. So bottom line is, folks, is that it's dynamic. It's always been shifting and it always will. And that shift is something that trickles down and influences us. All right, behavior and lifestyle changes. What are we thinking in terms of behavior and lifestyle? What do you guys think? What are the things that influence behavior and lifestyle?
Pandemics.
Okay, disease, pandemics, yeah, that seems to be the focus of our lives. What else?
Relationship.
Ooh,
Like-
relationships, absolutely, on a micro level. Okay, health, yeah, major intrinsic level. Okay, what else influences behavior and lifestyle?
Finances.
Media.
Okay, excellent. Media. What was the other one, you guys?
Finances.
Finances, yeah. Well, the economy is going to be a big influencer of that. And then also when you delve down deeper, you also want to take into consideration things that will influence it coming from our relationship with our health, well-being.
Mental health. Like that.
Oh, huh?
Mental health.
Mental health, yeah, huge. Drug addiction, alcohol consumption, right? Diseases, our chronic diseases, take into consideration things like the hypertension, diabetes, obesity. Jennifer brings up, would an advertisement directed towards children count? Absolutely. Targeting specific groups also could be a big influencer of the development of behavior or the shift in behavior. And then, of course, as it's expressed in the lifestyle. Good. And then lastly, folks, the perception of American health. What do you think? What is the, okay, I can get there. Trust me. All right. If someone were to come to you from another country and they're like, oh, wow, America. Like, I'll never forget, I had a boyfriend once from Peru. And when he came up to the United States, he was just like, you know, I've arrived. It was really funny. But he was so enamored with America, that America is the rich, America has everything, America's amazing, America's awesome. And I lived in Boston at that point. I'll never forget, I was living downtown in the brownstones. And to me, that was like, oh, I've arrived. I just thought it was amazing. I was living in history. And he looked at my place and he said, that's old and disgusting. I was like, wow, perception really is real. So we sometimes create stories of what we think health is. So what do you think is the perception of American health? What do you think it is, your perception? And then what do you think it is from other countries?
I think it's a joke. I think it's not taken seriously. I think it's for profit. I think people aren't the priority. It's a capitalistic shit show. Sorry.
You know,
I quit my job and went to Europe like 3 years ago. Like I just quit my job and left. And man, it was great.
Wasn't it? Yeah, you know, it's very interesting, folks. I think that I always like to focus, why I want you guys to think about when you're in your 70s, is that when I was hiking in Europe and I had these older women in their 80s hiking uphill faster than I was going downhill, I had the realization that this fantasy of mine of great health was absolutely toilet water. We do, you know, and part of it might have to do with our access to wealth. I think a lot of it has to do with our media presenting these stories, these images, these concepts of how great things are. But the reality is, when I work in public health education and I'm seeing what really America is truly made of statistically, it is a little bit of a disaster zone. And we perceive based off of what we're exposed to and what we know. So that's just kind of a starting point. You know, I want you guys, I was developing a page for you. I want you to take a look, because we're wrapping up right here. I'm going to pop over, if this would be so kind. Oh, I do want to go back to that page for a quick second, because it's really.
I just wanted to interject on that point. I saw this interesting tweet that it was like, Americans are like livestock. They're placated until they're ready for the slaughter, but they're not in a system that allows them to thrive. And so that just kind of came to my mind as we were talking about that.
Yeah, I was thinking like narrow-minded, like the blinders of a horse.
Mm-hmm.
Like we like see what, you know, we're fed and what we're used to.
Yeah. You know, which is kind of fascinating if you think about it, because I think once upon a time, America was much more like a teenager, denying everything, questioning everything, you know, kind of the Jack Kerouac era of question things, ponder.
40 years ago.
Yeah. I got to warn you guys, my undergraduate was philosophy, so I am designed to question.
Hell yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, no, isn't that kind of crazy? So I don't accept anything at face value. And you're going to get that sense from me, is that I want you guys to leave this class and be thinking for yourselves. Okay. Don't buy into anything, question everything, and then you'll decide that it's either truth or not. But that being said, I provided a few resources for you, because getting to the facts is really important. And I think a really great example of this is the National Healthcare. No, not that one. Oh, maybe I'll post it for you guys. I don't think I posted it for you. There is this really great report that is about causes of death, and how causes of death that are reported are not always truly the cause of death. It's the underlying condition that actually was the true cause of death. And there's this discrepancy, and I have concerns about this regarding COVID, is that people are freaking out and running around COVID. But the reality is it was the underlying disease that it's like a chronic disease has a big red button, and COVID hit that button and the person expires. And so would that person have expired if they didn't have that chronic disease? Likely no. Okay. So that's kind of part of that conversation that we just have to really start questioning and exploring and pondering what else is out there. So, okay, I've got to let you guys go because I have to go online, but I do want to touch this quickly. And I think this page is interesting. I went to the CDC and I pulled this down. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's make it big again. Because it really got me start thinking about what is it, when we talk about health, what are the different possible things that influence it? This will not let me make it bigger right now. I've got way too much stuff open. Okay, we're getting there. So if you take a look at influenza on the left-hand side, you've got 3 different types to consider. We've got rubella, all right, sorry, as a virus. And it has this natural cycle, and then they started immunizing. And once they were immunizing, they got it under control. Life is great. And then you look at your influenza. Influenza, folks, is a virus. It's a seasonal virus. So this is why you see these peaks and lows. So if you notice, we've got the starting point is almost always November or fall. In this case, we've got around a November starts, September, October-ish, again, September, October-ish. We've got October, November. So this is the natural seasonal fluctuation of a virus. It peaks over January. I mean, isn't this just amazing every year? This is why I love data. It peaks every January, and then it has this decline that by May, it should be completely done. And this is part of why you're seeing these crazy highs and lows every year of flus coming on and then abating and coming on. Now, the interesting thing is the flu has been gaining its strength over the years because I noticed a couple years ago, being at Kaiser, they post the deaths from influenza every year. And leading up to COVID, I was watching the death count increase. All right. Now, we know that bacteria is getting more powerful. All right. But influenza, the question was it getting more powerful, or are people, the underlying cause, getting more sick? And that's where you can't go with the sound bites, but you got to pull back and look at the big picture conversation, because statistically, when you look at the data, the influenza seasonal influenzas have been getting more powerful. But is it they're getting more powerful, or the fact that our chronic diseases are exploding in this nation? We're having a hard time wrapping our hands around them, which is why we're really focused on trying to help people practice more. What did Amanda originally say? Prevention. All right. And then same goes with the rotavirus having this seasonal aspect. Bacteria does not have a seasonal aspect as much. And by the way, I will tell you one crazy thing. The bacteria that lasts the longest is TB because of its waxy outer coating of its structure, which lasts up to 3 days. TB, okay? Otherwise, the sun will burn things off in 30 minutes. So, or we can disinfect. Now, other considerations, so we've got a seasonal aspect of diseases, is, I thought this was crazy, farm tractor deaths by day of week. If you're able to see this, it's like, okay, Monday, Tuesday, woo, Wednesday, midweek, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Sunday levels off. You guys, why do you think Sunday levels off?
They don't work on Sunday.
Few people working. Why does Saturday have a peak?
People probably hung over from Friday.
Or what
Last day of the week.
Yeah, that people are trying to hurry and wrap up, that they're tired. Okay. So then it's interesting when you look at the work cycle in a day, the peak of deaths occurs towards the end of the day, around 4 to 5 p.m. before the sun is getting ready to set. Why would it peak at that time of day?
Happy hour. No. It's the end of the day. They're rushing.
Yeah, people are rushing and they're tired. So again, there are these other things that we are in control of and that can help define our fate, but we don't manage them well, which means it puts us on this path, potential death, versus this path of being careful and healthy and living. Interestingly enough, when you look at things like pertussis, all right, it's explosive early from 0 to 4, less than 1 years old, and then it levels off by age group as years. Why does it level off?
Vaccines.
Yeah, vaccines, right? So the takeaway of this, folks, is that we have seasonal influences, we have work influences, sleep influences, we have vaccine influences. There are a lot of things that influence human health. Those are called variables. I can't account for everything that's out there, but what we can do is fortify our foundation, build basic skills in understanding how to manage ourselves successfully, powerfully, build what I call our tool chest of skills that are there to support us and aid us. And that becomes that foundation of moving through life in a healthy, successful, and lasting manner with a high quality of life. Is that cool? Okay, that's it. I really wanted to tackle that. Otherwise, gosh, our topic for, I don't have the darn syllabus in front of me. Our topic for next week, again, we have what, our Tuesday, Thursday time slots will be the conversation of
Nourishing and nutrition? No.
yeah, nutrition. We're going
Okay.
to dive right into nutrition. Of course, I have to admit there might be a little bit of a bias there that we started with nutrition because I'm a dietitian and I feel that all things start with nutrition, but then I guess you wouldn't exist without food, would you? You can go without exercise. You can go without sleep. You can have mental health, fantastic or terrible. You can have stress, but you can't do anything without nutrition. So isn't it a good bias? All right, you guys, before we go for the day, do you have any thoughts, questions, statements, whether that be verbal or chat box before you depart?
Time frames?
Huh?
The time frames? Is
Time
this going to
frame.
be our set time frame?
Yes, Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Okay.
So what is it? I didn't write it down on my.
3 to 4:30, I think.
And then Thursday it was 2:30 to 3:45.
Okay. Cool, cool, cool.
Fabulous. Oh my God. I wish you guys could see this. My husky is leaping through the room. Dog thinks he's a deer. Yes, Tuesday, 3 to 4:30 and Thursdays, 2:30 to 3:45. You guys, there is no like you have to always be at the same one. Go with what works best for your schedule if you have flexibility, okay? And then, like I said, if you guys rally together and message each other via Canvas and you're like, this doesn't work for us anymore, this time frame, then we'll change it. The dog is really wild right now. I wish you could see this. He's spinning around in circles.
Oh yeah, that's a good one, Elizabeth.
I want to see.
Huh?
I said I'd love to see. Otter's asleep.
This one doesn't sleep. He's a white Siberian Husky.
Oh, he's chatty.
No,
No?
he doesn't talk. He'll whine in the car, but he leaps like a deer.
That's
he
great.
I think Elizabeth had a really good question in the chat.
Oh, you're awesome. What do you think about keto diets? Elizabeth, you are so cute. Okay, keto diets, sorry, and the reason I say that is because this is a very popular question that I get both at the university and at Kaiser. The ketogenic diet, folks, is the concept is to focus on fats to promote the fat burning of the human body. And that means that to do that, you have to deprive the body of carbohydrates, which means that you're then eating a diet that's going to be low carbohydrate, AKA vegetables, to limit your fruits, your whole grains, and to focus more on foods that are protein or can include fat. Now, that's very similar to the Atkins diet, which I just would like to say, the guy did die of heart disease. You know, hey. The conundrum is I appreciate, you know, and I get this a lot with my diabetes patients, is that it will cause your blood sugar to come down really fast because you have to have a source to elevate the blood sugar. So there is some value to it, but the conundrum is you got to remember two things. Number one, carbohydrates are 4 calories per gram. Fats are 9 calories per gram. Why am I saying this? Because every time we eat fat, we're consuming a lot, more than double the calories, which means you'd have to really kind of reduce the amount of calories you're taking in. That's thought number one. Thought number two is fat-based foods are not typically super high in nutrients. You got to be cautious. If we're talking nuts and seeds and avocado, brilliant, fantastic. We're talking fish, amazing. But when we talk about your meat-based foods, I'm and no discrimination, but we do have to acknowledge that these do have a higher density of saturated fat, which is a type of fat different from the monounsaturated fat of avocado and olive oil, or the polyunsaturated fats found in your most nuts, seeds, and fish. So not all fats are created equal. That's one thought. Two, when you force your body to no longer rely on carbohydrates as its primary energy source, then we're forcing the body to do a emergency maneuver. We are not designed to be fat-based. Think of it this way. This is actually how I always start out my nutrition class, is that if you were to go back 10,000 years ago, okay, we didn't start farming until, oh my gosh, what was it? I think around 3000 BC, somewhere in there. I forget. If you were to go back 10,000 years ago, where did people get their food? Did they go to Walmart?
They're hunting and gathering.
Hunting and gathering. So
Got
you
berries
tell me,
and nuts.
yes, if I were to throw you out in the woods today, how quickly could you hunt and make a kill?
Not at all.
Mm.
Yeah, right?
Do I have a
Well,
knife?
we'd probably all starve to death. Oh, good luck, Jacqueline.
From the south, please.
Nice. It's not easy, folks, because all creatures are designed to survive, which they're going to be evasive. They're going to avoid being caught. So what we were guaranteed were plant-based foods, hunters and gatherers. So that means that those grasses and grains that were naturally occurring, those nuts, those seeds, those berries, those vegetables, those tubers, those roots that were in the ground, those are all plant-based foods that are rich in carbohydrates, except the nuts and seeds are more fat-based, but different conversation. So the reality is human beings were designed to eat carbohydrates first. That's the majority of our calories. And when we consume those, it feeds the brain and central nervous system first. You are wired to always make sure your brain and central nervous system is functioning.
The brain loves sugar.
Yep. When you take that out of play, you're forcing your body to then go into its emergency reserves fat and use that as energy. And that is the ketogenic state, or ketosis, where you're forcing your body to break fat down to fuel the body and the brain. One of those experiences people have initially is the keto flu. They'll get kind of spacey, everything will feel all right. But the reality is what's happening is that your body can't survive just off of fat. It has to have some carbohydrate, some sugar. So what it'll do is it'll break down the protein in your diet. So you're eating protein, and your body will break it down and it will become glucose. That's called gluconeogenesis. But the catch with this is that where does your body get the protein? Some of it from your diet, the rest of it on demand comes from your muscle. So as your body breaks down its muscle, you are now eliminating the cells that burn calories faster. That slows metabolism down. When you break down your muscle to be able to use it as energy to feed the brain and central nervous system, you no longer have storage, which is a wet mass of water and muscle. So now the scale looks great. The number goes down, the water weight's coming off, the muscle mass going away, and you think everything's, as they used to say in the old days, hunky-dory. But the reality, what's going on is that once your metabolism realizes, oh my God, the muscle's gone, your metabolism will tank, it will plateau, and it will stop. And when it stops, some people think of that as the set point theory. Your body will not lose any more weight. And then the moment you think about having a bite of that cookie or a slice of that bread, your body will be hungry for it, but it won't stimulate metabolism, which means now any new calories come in, you are more likely to start gaining weight. So then people cut their portions down smaller and smaller, and the metabolism gets lower and lower, and they gain more weight. Weren't you horrified that you asked me, Elizabeth, about the keto diet? So the takeaway point is that it is a lot of marketing. It's a fad diet, okay? But that doesn't necessarily make it a good thing, okay? When it comes to weight loss, folks, and that will be part of the weight section. When it comes to weight loss, what we really want to do is work with our body as an ally rather than treat it as a slave, okay? And beat it and be cruel to it. We've got to work with it as a partner. And that means providing the nutrition it needs to be optimized. And when we do that, we're more energetic, we think more clearly, we're more emotionally balanced, which means more motivated, and we're more successful at weight loss. Why do I say that? Because this is what I do every night. And I've got the gamut of people, and it's cool. It's awesome. I love it. It's exciting, but this is where we're so disconnected from nutrition that we're looking for those magic bullets and those shortcuts. And they don't get us there, but they do. Ketogenic, otherwise known as atherogenic. Oh, heart disease. You got to be cautious of that one.
Cirrhosis.
Cirrhosis.
Because of fatty liver, yeah?
Yeah, you can. I mean, the cirrhosis, you can. I think you're going to end up with blood plaques sooner than you would the cirrhosis.
Fair.
You're going to have other issues. You remember those underlying causes of death? Yeah, the atherosclerosis will come up first. Okay, awesome questions, you guys. Another thing I'm going to do is I just will be posting some type of little chat board for us, so that our discussion board, so that whenever you have tips, really great ideas, I'll have different topics, throw them in there. I might come back and say, oh, girlfriend, let's talk about that for a moment, folks. This is why. And it's not to ever embarrass a person. It's just simply for us to open the conversation and consider all the aspects that we may not be savvy to. Not yet, at least. Okay. Okay. I got to go save the world with Kaiser. I'm actually about to do a weight management class with them right now. I got to introduce people to healthy dietary choices, exercise and behavior, and the possibility of bariatric surgery and meal replacement weight loss.
Oh, I'd love to hear about that.
This is all my skill set. All of it. I love this stuff. This is why I'm excited for this whole class.
That was my first major many years ago.
What?
Being a dietitian and a nutritionist was my first major back in 2012.
Really?
Mhm.
Go figure. But you jettisoned it. You threw it overboard, huh?
No, I just switched schools. It's not off the table.
Got it. You know, anything's possible, you guys. Just for those that all of you except Amanda don't know this, but I did change careers. I was a philosophy undergrad, and I worked in the financial industry and did project management and everything but, and then I kind of had a overload, like, I can't do this anymore. And I left the country. And when I came back to the US, had my kid, contemplated the meaning of life, because I'm a true philosopher. And then my wonderful hairstylist said, nutrition, you're good at it. My hairstylist never looked back. So anything's possible. We're in the land of the free, United States of America. You want to be something, get off your bum and go do it. Okay, I'm running. You guys are fantastic, amazing, and awesome. And until either next week, Tuesday, Thursday, or by text or Canvas message or discussion board, I'll see you later.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, thanks.
Welcome.